About 20 minutes ago, an arrest warrant was signed by the Honorable Judge Fisher charging Clark for the murder and the death of Annie Lay. Bond has been set at $3 million. A few minutes ago, Raymond J. Clark III, 24 years of age, of Middleton, Connecticut, was arrested at a motel in Commonwealth, Connecticut. Annie Lay was reported missing on September 8th, and a missing person investigation was started by Yale PD with the assistance of the FBI, Connecticut State Police, and New Haven PD. On Saturday the 12th, Connecticut State Police secured the building at 10 Amistad Street in order to conduct a thorough forensic review of that building. The afternoon of the 12th, New Haven PD assumed the lead in a criminal investigation in this case. Close to 300 items have been seized in this investigation, and detectives have worked around the clock on this case. Based upon numerous interviews, forensic evidence, and information learned from viewing video surveillance, detectives have secured the arrest warrant for Clark. This arrest warrant has been sealed, so no further information can be released in order to comply with this court order. Annie Lay was a young woman with unlimited potential. Her loss would be deeply felt by her family, friends, and the community. I think it's important to note this is not about urban crime, it's not about university crime, it's not about domestic crime, but an issue of workplace violence, which is becoming a growing concern around the country. You know, I can't thank enough the Connecticut State Police, the FBI, and Yale PD. This was about as smooth an operation among 4 agencies as I've seen in my 39 years. Every agency offered everything they could bring forward and have aggressively pursued this investigation to this, what we believe is a successful conclusion. So I'd first like to invite the Commissioner.
Thank you, Chief. On behalf of the Department of Public Safety, we certainly want to extend our profound sympathies to the family of Annie Lay, her fiance, to everyone who was affected by this tragedy. I echo what the Chief said, that this was an extraordinary cooperative effort involving 4 law enforcement agencies. As the Chief said, people worked round the clock. That was not an idle statement. That was literal truth with regard to all agencies. For our part, for the Department of Public Safety, our major crime squads and our forensic scientists have performed extraordinary work, as have all the agencies involved. Our commitment, our promise, is that we will continue to provide all support necessary to New Haven PD. We will do what is necessary to bring this case to an appropriate conclusion. That is our obligation and our commitment to Annie Lay, to her family.
Jim.
Thank you, Chief. I would like to acknowledge the dedication and professionalism of the employees of the New Haven Police Department, the Yale University Police Department, the Connecticut State Police, and FBI, who have worked tirelessly throughout this investigation. I would also like to acknowledge the assistance provided in the case by the FBI's Polygraph Unit and Behavioral Analysis Unit. Lastly, it is important to recognize Lieutenant Lisa D'Addio and the members of the New Haven Police Department's Major Crimes Unit. I've been able to witness firsthand what a talented team Chief Lewis has, and they have been working around the clock to ensure the individual responsible for the murder of Annie Lay is brought to justice.
Good morning. I'm proud of the contribution of the men and women of the Yale Police Department for their work on this case. The Yale community is grateful for the collaborative efforts of the New Haven Police, the State Police, and the FBI, and for their tireless devotion over the last 8 days to the difficult task of finding Annie and determining who is responsible for this horrible crime. The Yale Police Department and the Yale Security Department pledge to do everything they can to support the state's attorney in his prosecution of this case. And we are eager to focus our attention on the day-to-day activities of serving the faculty, staff, and students of Yale as we do our part to keep our city safe. Thank you.
I know this doesn't make your job any easier, but I cannot answer any questions about anything that's in the document that's been sealed by the court. If there's other questions, I'll try to answer them as long as you stay away from that area. Yes?
Chief Lewis, can you tell us where the suspect goes now, and will he be arraigned today?
He will be brought to One Union Station here today. Do we expect him to be arraigned today or tomorrow?
It depends on the court docket, but probably within the next 24 hours.
Within the next 24 hours. May not make it today, but he's on his way here to the station.
Chief, what was his demeanor when he was arrested? Can you tell us a little bit about how the arrest went down?
There was no issues with the arrest. It went smoothly.
Can you tell us, was it a DNA match? Can you confirm
I
that?
can't, that's in the sealed document.
Is there anything you can tell us about what evidence first led you to suspect him and what evidence brought it to the point where you could come up with an arrest warrant?
Well, only what I've told you, that we have reviewed tapes. We've interviewed about 150 people, but nothing more specific than that. I'm sorry. It's in the document. No, I can't talk about anything that's in the...
Agent Mertz, you talked about the polygraph unit. Can you confirm that this individual failed the polygraph test?
No, I cannot confirm that.
But they were involved. Did he take a polygraph test?
The polygraph unit provided assistance. I cannot comment further.
Can we approach this kind of in reverse? Reports in the media basically span. Is there anything particular that you've heard that is wrong?
Yeah, I can confirm there was a lot wrong. You know, there were statements about, you know, a manhunt. We were chasing him. There was early reports about the body. There was reports about a romantic relationship. None of those were true, to my knowledge.
Can you tell us, has her family been aware? Are they aware
Her
today?
family was notified about a half hour ago.
What was their
Chief, can you
demeanor?
talk a little bit about other
No,
suspects?
I'm sorry, I don't.
Anybody else, like including his family, helping him or not reporting it right away?
We don't have any suspects, other suspects at this time. We do have a lot of evidence we still have to analyze. Literally hundreds of pieces of evidence still to go to the lab.
Chief, why was this arrest not made last night?
The arrest warrant was just signed this morning. We had to get all the documents together, get them to the judge. We're talking about literally thousands of pages, and so we didn't have an arrest warrant until about 20 minutes ago. They worked throughout the night. This was not a case of just putting off this press conference. It was just, it took that long.
Chief, you said that you had an eye on this fellow for some time. I know there were police cars outside all last night. Is this some sort of arranged surrender? I mean, why didn't he just flee if he knew you were coming to get him?
Well, because we were there. We've been with him since we took over this case. NHPD has had people watching him since the day. It was not an arranged.
So since Wednesday did we?
No, we took it over Saturday or Sunday. We put people on him.
What was the date of the first interview with Mr. Clark?
I don't have that.
Is there a specific charge to the murder? Are there degree in the state, or is it specific murder?
Just murder. Just murder.
Chief Lewis, was anybody else at that Super 8 motel room, an attorney?
Not to my knowledge.
So are you saying it's possible there could be more arrests in connection?
Well, you never know where evidence will take you. I don't have any reason to believe that, but as I told you before, we don't have tunnel vision here. Wherever the remainder of this evidence takes us, it will take us. We are not done processing the evidence.
Chief, can you tell us, do you think that he disposed of her body unaided? Did he do that alone while around this war?
I can't speculate anything that's in that document.
Can you tell us specifically, though, was the body found behind a door, or was it actually walled into drywall?
The court has ordered me not to talk about, and all that stuff is in the sealed document.
And the court sealing it, why? Why is the court sealing it?
That's the court sometimes seals it.
The sole charge is murder, there's no other
At this point, that is the only charge.
You expect more charges?
That is always a possibility, depending on where the evidence takes us.
You said there was no romantic relationship, but you said it over that way. I mean, I didn't hear it. I just want to make sure.
Right, that was reported in the news, and there's no evidence to my knowledge of that.
And you said there was something else that there was no evidence. I missed it. Could you address that side of the room? Was it the mice issue on here?
No, I think it had to do with the issue of that there was a manhunt. We were chasing him one night. None of that was true. He never fled from us. We never had any incident where we had to chase him or anything of that
Chief,
nature.
there's a cold case on the books. I know you weren't here at the time, but Suzanne Jobin, another Yale student who was murdered about 10 years ago. Did the shadow of that unsolved case have any effect on how you guys handled this one?
Didn't have any effect at all on me. As you said, I wasn't here. We handled this from the minute we got it as we'd handle any homicide. We interviewed everyone we could interview. We seized every bit of evidence we could seize. That is a completely different case, completely different circumstances, had nothing to do. We handled this one as we would straight homicide.
This is a case of workplace violence. Can you elaborate on that, workplace violence?
Well, you know, there is a growing number of incidences throughout the country, and I think it is a concern. Will things occur in a work environment among employees? And you know, sometimes it's difficult to tell what's going on there, if there's any signs of that creating, and I think it is an awareness that should be made here, because this was not a street crime. It was not a domestic crime, which is often what we have. It was a workplace crime, and so it is different. I think we have to really educate ourselves about who we work with and how we deal with each other and those
Did
issues.
you say this had nothing to do with lab animals? Is that something that I heard you deny?
No, I didn't say anything about lab
Well,
animals.
Stuart, we have to know more about the people we work with. Do you think that Yale could have done more to screen people? Did this kid get a pass into the lab because his family worked there?
No, I don't believe that at all.
Did he make a complaint about her treatment of animals?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about any of that, because that, if in fact it occurred, would be in a document.
How the Jovan case from 11 years ago might have affected how you handled this?
As Chief Lewis said, the cases are dramatically different, and they were handled differently because of that.
What is the relationship between the two? How well did they know each other before?
So again, you're getting into what eventually will come out in trial, and that document is sealed. When it's unsealed, you have an opportunity to look at it, but at this point, the court has ordered me not to answer questions about what's in those
Can you
documents.
tell us how many pages the warrant is? How big is it? I mean, is there a lot in there? Or was this just to get this individual?
I mean, ultimately, this thing's going to be thousands of pages because of the number of interviews.
How and when will we find out if this is a capital case?
We would announce that if there's changes in the charges.
That's all the
Okay?
questions.
Thank you.
Very much.